everyone, it's Taylor here. Today I'm going to share with you how I created these vintage ornaments in several different color combinations. You make quick work of this using our innovative Beautiful Baubles layering stencil. So let's start by taking a look at the stencil. You can see it's 3 layers, and in the bottom right corner of each layer is etched 1, 2, and 3, so you can go in the right order. It also has the etchings along the side so you can line up the squares to easily create the full design in multiple colors. We also have the Beautiful Baubles add-ons clear set that includes the hangers for the ornaments, along with several stars and sentiments for decorating the background. We also have the Stitched Frame Stacklets 1. I'll be using my Stamper's Spritz to clean the stencils and doing some embossing, so I have my silver embossing powder, my powder tool, and Versamark. I'll also be using the new Bits and Pieces silver and gold drip drops and applying those with my Embelly Jelly Pick and Place tool. I'll be applying ink with the stencil using my blender brushes, and I'll go through all the different colors of ink that I used as we get into the video. I'll be using low-tack artist tape for masking, and then my 1/2-inch foam tape roll for adhesive. So let's get started. I'm going to start with those 3 stencils and my grid paper pad for easy alignment. You can see the 6x6 stencil fits perfectly in the 6x6 opening, and as I mentioned, it's etched with the item number in the bottom corner so you know which layer is 1, 2, and 3. I've placed my sugar cube cardstock inside the A2 opening, and I'm marking the stencil openings, the squares along the side, with my Sharpie pen so that I can easily line up the next layer. I'm starting with watermelon ink for this first layer, blending across until I get that pattern finished. When I replace the stencil, I'm leaving my hinge in place with the purple tape and using the cilantro ink after making sure my traced squares along the side are perfectly lined up. I'll do the same with the final layer and poblano pepper ink, and this is going to give me completed ornaments in a very retro yet traditional color combination. All right, let's move to washing our stencils. I have a craft mat, so I place that down so that my grid paper doesn't get wet. I've sprayed that with the Stamper's Spritz, and then I'm using a baby wipe to wipe over the surface and remove the ink. So we'll continue on with the next color combination. I chose mulled wine for the first layer. This is our dark burgundy color. Again, lining up each layer of the stencil with those traced lines across the sides of the stencil. The second layer is lollipop, and then the third layer will be a combination of 2 colors. I wanted to have a little bit more dimension with the yellow and gold color, so I concentrated the pineapple toward the center and then the Dijon towards the outside, adding just a little bit of extra in the middle for dimension. For my third color combination, I went with a combo of blues, adding a little bit of toffee in as well. I'm starting the first layer with the lightest blue, this is saltwater taffy, and then lining up those alignment guides along the right and left side. I'm going to continue with the gumball on the outside 2 ornaments, and then I'm using that low-tack artist tape to mask off the areas that I already stenciled, and I wanted the dark blue corn ink down the center. I'm going to do the third layer then in all toffee to add those brown accents to the blue. I really love how soft and subtle this one turned out. My last color combination is definitely bright and bold. It starts with the Plum Punch ink on the first layer, and again, using those guides that we traced on that very first card makes this quick and easy to continue with the same process. I'm using blueberry then on the second layer, and then the third layer will be a combination of the lime zest and the Cookie Monster. So lime zest on the outside 2 ornaments and the polka dots in the center, using that masking paper to keep the areas that I already stenciled clean from ink. So this came out really bright and bold. I really love all of the ornaments. I'm not sure what my favorite is. I think perhaps this first one that we're starting with here might be my favorite of the 4. I'm going to continue with the cards by stamping the hangers for each of the ornaments. I'm conditioning my cardstock with my powder tool and then stamping in Versamark ink so that I can emboss these with silver embossing powder, making them look similar to what you would find with a real ornament, that small metal piece at the top that hangs from the tree. So I'm just going to pour the embossing powder over the top, and then I can heat those panels until they turn that bright, shiny silver color. I'm going to do the same on the horizontally oriented cards, stamping 2 of the hangers. There are 2 stamps in the stamp set, so I'll need to go back and stamp that 3rd hanger. Now, if you wanted to not go through the trouble of embossing these, you could certainly grab a silver ink pad and do that instead and get a similar result, or you can hang it with a different colored string as well. So after I have heated those, we'll go back and do the 3rd string on all of the cards, again going through the same steps. Now it's important to note this is a clear stamp, so I did put in my black mouse pad into my MISTI so that I could use the clear stamps with this one. And after stamping all of those with the Versamark, I can pour my embossing powder over the top and get those heated as well. The process went fairly quickly, and again, you could speed it up by using an ink rather than embossing these. But I do love the look of the embossing powder. It gives it that shiny, more realistic ornamental look. So now that you see all 4 panels with the ornament hangers, have you decided on a favorite combination yet? I still really love them all, and I'm going to continue the next step with sentiments for each of these panels. I'm setting up the vertical oriented ornament panel first, using the Sending Holiday Cheer sentiment at the bottom left of each of those. Then I'm moving to the horizontal, and I'm going to place the Oh So Merry. It fits just perfectly right inside those 2 ornaments on the left. Now this one I'm doing with blue corn, and the other 3 I stamped with Oreo ink. So now we have the sentiments, and we can do the small stars in the background just to add a little bit of extra interest. I'm doing the horizontal pattern first, and I'm going to stamp these with the blueberry ink. And you can see it adds a lot just to add these 5 little stamps to the background. I'll do the same with the second horizontal panel. They're already in exactly the same spot using the blue corn ink. And then I'll rearrange them for the vertical panel and stamp these with the watermelon ink first. And then on the other panel, I'm going to stamp them with the mulled wine ink. After completing all of the stamping, I decided on one more step to really finish these off. I'm going to frame each of the cards with our Stitched Frame Stacklets 1 die cut. I've cut those in coordinating colors to the cards themselves, and I'm just going to adhere them around the outside of each of the panels to kind of set those ornaments apart from the card base. I'm just using my Scotch adhesive to adhere those frames around the outside, and then I will use my 1/2-inch foam tape roll to pop those up onto card bases. I've chosen poblano pepper and mulled wine for the 2 vertical cards. I'm using my score pal to score those down the center and fold and crease them. And then I have blueberry cardstock and blue corn cardstock for the horizontal cards. I have my 1/2-inch foam tape roll that I can add to the back to give these a little added dimension. I'm popping them up over the top of the card bases. And now I've saved the best for last. It's time to apply the fun gold and silver drip drops. I'm placing some of them down onto my work surface so that I can easily grab them with my Embelly Jelly Pick and Place tool. I'm applying liquid glue to the dots on the center ornament and then using my Embelly Jelly tool to pick up the drip drops and place them onto the liquid adhesive. They really add so much to these cards, a little bit of dimension and shine. I decided to go with gold on this project because it included the gold elements within the ornaments themselves. I hope you enjoyed all of the combinations I came up with using the Beautiful Baubles layering stencil, and I can't wait to see what you come up with yourself. You can find all of these products at the Tailored Expressions web store at tailoredexpressions.com.